"You're not a real man. My ex would never say no to me," she yelled in front of her friends. So I ghosted her completely. Now she's begging to talk, but even her ex blocked her. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. It started like any other Friday night. Jenna had convinced me to come out with her and a few of her friends to celebrate one of their birthdays. I wasn't in the mood for another loud bar night, but she insisted, saying I'd been boring lately and that she needed me to loosen up for once. I went anyway, because that's what I did in our relationship. I tried. I went along with plans I didn't enjoy, laughed at conversations that didn't interest me, and smiled through backhanded jokes her friends made about me being the quiet one. The night was already testing my patience, but it was the kind of thing you push through. Her friends were all drinking cocktails and taking selfies, while Jenna sat across from me half listening as I told her about a project at work. She was scrolling through her phone when I realized she wasn't even pretending to pay attention. "Babe," I said gently, "are you even hearing me right now?" She glanced up and smirked. "You're talking about spreadsheets again, Ethan. What do you want me to say?" Her friends giggled. I forced a chuckle and looked down at my drink. I'd gotten used to that, the little dig she made to entertain her audience. A few minutes later, one of her friends, Tasha, started teasing me about how serious I always looked. "Come on, Ethan, live a little," she said. "You're acting like we dragged you to a funeral." I smiled politely. Just not my scene, I guess. That's when Jenna chimed in already, tipsy and bolder than usual. "Yeah, you never want to do anything fun. Remember when I asked you to come to that rooftop party last month? You said no. Said he was tired." Her tone had that sharp edge she got when she wanted attention. The table laughed. I shrugged, keeping calm. "You worked the next morning too, Jenna. It wasn't that serious." She leaned back, glass in hand, eyes glinting. "See? That's what I mean. Everything with you has to be logical and planned. My ex would have said, 'Let's go anyway.' He never said no to me." The laughter faded. Everyone looked from her to me. The words hung there, ugly, sharp, loud enough to sting. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her, but she wasn't done. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe the need to impress her friends, but she leaned forward, her voice louder. "You're not a real man sometimes, Ethan. You act like an old married guy instead of my boyfriend." Tasha's eyes widened. Someone at the table muttered, "Damn, Jenna." I sat there, frozen, a thousand things running through my head. Anger, humiliation, disbelief, but mostly exhaustion. There was no point arguing. Anything I said would have just turned into another scene. So I took a slow sip of my drink and said quietly, "Got it." She blinked. "What?" I said, "Got it." Then I stood up, grabbed my jacket and left. No shouting, no slam glasses, no scene, just silence. I could hear her calling after me as I walked toward the door. "Ethan, don't be dramatic. It was a joke." Her voice was high, nervous, trying to sound playful, but the crowd had already gone quiet. When I stepped outside, the cold air hit like a reset button. I stood there for a second, letting the noise from the bar fade behind me. Inside, she was probably laughing it off. That's what she always did. Minimize redirect, make me feel stupid for reacting. But this time, something felt final. By the time she came out 20 minutes later, I was already gone. I ignored her text that night. She sent 3. "Come back. You're being ridiculous." You know I didn't mean it, but I didn't reply. I didn't even open them until the next morning, and when I did, I just looked at them once, locked my phone, and went back to bed. Because for the first time in our entire relationship, I actually believed her, believed what she'd said in front of everyone, that I wasn't the kind of man she wanted. And if that was true, I wasn't going to waste another second proving otherwise. The next morning, my phone was full of unread messages from Jenna. At first, they were light and dismissive, the usual pattern. "You really walked out over a joke. Everyone thought you were being dramatic." You know, I didn't mean it like that. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then put the phone face down. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even hurt anymore. I just felt hollow. When I finally saw her again 2 days later, she came over like nothing had happened. She walked into my apartment holding a coffee for me, smiling like we were fine. "Hey," she said, setting it down on the table. "I figured you'd still be mad, so I brought peace offerings." I didn't say anything, just looked at her. She sighed. "Ethan, come on. You really can't still be upset about that night. Everyone says stupid things after a few drinks." "You didn't sound drunk," I said quietly. She rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you seriously going to nitpick the tone of my voice now?" "I'm not nitpicking. I just remember exactly what you said." She crossed her arms. "It was a joke. You know, I don't think you're not a man." I nodded once. "Sure." She frowned. "That's it? Sure. What else do you want me to say?" "I want you to stop making me feel like I committed a crime for saying one thing wrong." I looked at her for a moment and said calmly, "Jenna, I've never cared about being compared to your ex, but the way you did it in front of everyone that told me what I needed to know." Her lips parted slightly. "You're really going to hold on to one moment after everything I've done for you?" I didn't answer. She kept talking, filling the silence. "I apologized. I brought you coffee. I even told my friends you overreacted so they'd stop talking about it." I tilted my head. "You told them I overreacted." Her face tightened. "You're twisting my words." "I'm trying to fix things, Ethan." "No," I said quietly. "You're trying to make them look fixed." That stopped her for a second. Then she scoffed and grabbed her purse. You know what? Fine. Be in your feelings. I'm not going to beg for forgiveness over nothing. She left slamming the door on her way out. I didn't chase her. I didn't text. I didn't check her social media. I just went still, and in that stillness, everything became clear. Over the next week, her messages changed tone. I don't understand what's going on with you. Why are you being like this? I said I was sorry. You're acting like a child right now. I never replied. When she called, I let it ring. When she showed up unannounced, I didn't answer the door. Through the peephole, I saw her standing there in her oversized hoodie, knocking harder each time. Ethan, can we please talk? You're scaring me with how cold you've gone. Her voice cracked, but I couldn't bring myself to open that door. I'd spent too much time trying to be enough for someone who thought public humiliation was a joke. The next morning she texted, I didn't mean what I said. I was just trying to make everyone laugh. I love you, okay? Can you just talk to me? I typed a single message back. You showed me exactly how you see me. I don't need to argue about it. Then I hit send, blocked her number, deleted our photos, and sat there staring at the empty contact list. No closure talk, no last argument, just silence. That silence was heavier than any fight we'd ever had, and for once, it didn't feel like loss. It felt like peace. She didn't realize it yet, but that was the day she stopped existing in my world. It's strange how quiet life feels after someone loud leaves it. The first few days without Jenna were disorienting, like walking through an empty house that used to hum with noise. But the longer the silence lasted, the lighter everything felt. I got up early, worked out before my job, cooked breakfast without having to ask if she wanted anything. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes. The space she used to occupy in my head started filling with peace. Then the messages started leaking in, not from her directly, but from mutual friends. Tasha sent me a DM one night. Hey, just checking if you and Jenna are okay. She's been kind of off lately. I didn't reply. A few days later, another friend of hers posted a group picture from a night out. Jenna was in the middle, all smiles, but the caption read, fake it till you make it grinning, face with sweat. I kept scrolling. By the third week, I heard she'd started hanging out with her ex Chase again, the same guy she compared me to that night, the same one she claimed to be so over. It didn't surprise me. That was her pattern. She couldn't stand the feeling of being ignored, so she ran to the nearest person who'd give her validation. But even that didn't last long. One afternoon, Tasha called me out of the blue. I let it go to voicemail, but she texted after, you won't believe this. Jenna tried getting back with Chase. He told her he wasn't interested and blocked her. I swear, karma's insane. I read it once and deleted the thread. I didn't need to know more. Still, it was hard not to notice the ripple effect. The same friends who laughed that night had started distancing themselves from her. A few of them followed me on social media, again, people who'd unfollowed me after the breakup. Apparently, the story of what she said at that bar had spread farther than she realized. A friend told me later that it had become a running joke in their group. Don't pull a Jenna, they'd say when someone crossed a line with their partner. She hated it apparently, couldn't go out without someone bringing up the real man comment. Meanwhile, I'd been promoted at work. My boss noticed how focused I'd been lately and offered me a lead position on a project I'd wanted for months. It felt poetic. The same week she was begging her ex for attention, I was finally getting recognized for the quiet, consistent effort she used to mock. Every now and then, I'd catch myself thinking about that night. Her laugh, her smug expression, the way she said it so casually, as if those words didn't have weight. But instead of feeling angry, I felt grateful. That moment had given me something I'd been missing for a long time: clarity. I finally understood that peace isn't built on being understood by someone else. It's built on walking away when you're not. One evening, about a month later, I ran into Tasha again at a cafe. She spotted me first and walked over, smiling awkwardly. Hey Ethan, she said, you look good. How's life? Can't complain, I said, closing my laptop. She hesitated. Jenna's not doing great, just so you know. I raised an eyebrow. That's so. Yeah, she thought Chase would take her back, but he's actually dating someone new. And people have been kind of distancing from her since that night. It got around. I nodded slowly. I figured she feels awful, keeps saying she wishes she could take it back. I met her eyes. Some things you can't take back. Tasha exhaled, almost relieved. I told her you wouldn't respond. She said she doesn't blame you. I smiled faintly. That's good. It means she's starting to get it. When she left, I went back to my work, the hum of the coffee machine blending with the music overhead. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like a backup plan or a punchline. I felt like a man who finally stopped apologizing for his peace. And somewhere across town, Jenna was learning what silence really sounded like. The sound of a door that had closed for good. It started small, a text from an unknown number one Thursday night. Hey, can we talk? No name, but I knew the tone. That mixture of guilt and hesitation was something I'd heard before. I blocked the number without replying. A day later, another message came in from a different number. Please, just 5 minutes. I need to explain. Blocked again. I thought that would be the end of it, but I underestimated how far she'd go once she realized I truly wasn't coming back. Within a week, Jenna had tried reaching me through 4 different numbers, 2 fake Instagram accounts, and even sent an email with a subject line. I'm sorry, please just read this. I didn't. I deleted it without opening it. Then came the mutual friends. Tasha texted me one morning saying Jenna was in a bad place and maybe I should just talk to her for closure. I told her closure happens when you stop opening doors. She didn't bring it up again, but Jenna didn't quit. A few days later, she showed up at the gym. It was 7:00 a.m. and she was clearly not there to work out. Makeup done, hair curled, wearing one of those outfits she used to accidentally bump into me in. She spotted me, instantly walked over, like we hadn't skipped a beat. Ethan, can we talk? She said, voice trembling slightly. I took out my earbuds, but didn't stop walking. I told you we're done. Please, she said, following me. I was drunk that night. I didn't mean what I said. My friends were laughing. I interrupted. Yeah, I remember. She flinched. I didn't realize how bad it sounded until after. You know, I never meant to make you feel disrespected. I said flatly, you meant every word. You just regret the consequences. Her voice cracked. Ethan, I miss you. I looked at her calm. You miss control, not me. And with that, I put my earbuds back in and walked to the weights. She stood there for a moment, then turned and left. After that, she didn't show up again, but her presence lingered through other people, through little digital traces she couldn't help but leave. A week later, I got a follow request from a new profile. No posts, just the name Jay. I ignored it. Then, I saw her actual account had been deactivated. A friend later told me she'd been ranting online about how men don't know how to forgive. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Chase, her ex, apparently saw the meltdown and blocked her after she tried messaging him again. Word got around their friend group and soon she'd burned nearly every bridge she had. Meanwhile, I was thriving. My project at work wrapped up successfully. My boss gave me a bonus. I was sleeping better, eating better, laughing more. It's amazing how peaceful life becomes when you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Then one night, about a month later, I ran into one of Jenna's friends at a restaurant. She recognized me and smiled awkwardly. Hey Ethan, she said, I heard about everything. Just so you know, she's been really torn up. I just nodded. We make our beds. Yeah, she said quietly. She knows she messed up. I think losing you hit harder than she expected. I'm sure it did, I replied, but I'm not her lesson to relearn. She didn't have a response for that. By the time I got home that night, I noticed Jenna's email again in my trash folder, the one I never read. For a second, I hovered over it, wondering what she could have possibly written. Then, I emptied the trash. Peace isn't about getting the last word. It's about not needing one. Still, I knew her story wasn't quite over yet. Not because I cared, but because people like her rarely fade quietly. And I was right, because the next time I heard her name, it was from someone unexpected, and it came with a story that made me realize karma had finished the job for me. It was a Friday afternoon when I heard her name again. I was leaving the office early after wrapping up a major project, grabbing a coffee from the shop across the street. I ran into an old mutual friend, Ryan, who used to hang around with Jenna's crowd. We hadn't talked in months, but he recognized me instantly. Ethan, man, long time, he said, clapping me on the shoulder. You look good, bro. Life treating you better these days. Yeah, I said can't complain. What about you? He laughed. Oh, I'm good. But speaking of better days, you won't believe what's been going on with Jenna. I didn't respond, just raised an eyebrow and waited. Ryan leaned in a little, lowering his voice. She kind of imploded, like socially and professionally. Turns out, after Chase blocked her and most of her friends started distancing themselves, she began venting about everyone calling people fake, blaming them for turning on her. She'd post cryptic stuff online, delete it, then post again. Then she made the biggest mistake possible. She got drunk at a mutual friend's birthday party and tried to confront Chase's new girlfriend in front of everyone. Apparently, she started crying, shouting that nobody respects loyalty anymore, and even threw a drink at someone. The videos made their way around the group chat. It was bad. She's basically a meme now, Ryan said with a shrug. Even her sister told her to chill. People don't invite her anywhere anymore. It's sad, but she did it to herself. I just nodded, sipping my coffee. There was no satisfaction in hearing it, just confirmation. She dug the hole herself, brick by brick, thinking she could talk her way out when it got too deep. Ryan smirked. She keeps saying she just wants to apologize to you in person, but everyone knows you're not giving her that chance. Good on you, man. You dodged a bullet. When he left, I sat there for a while watching people pass by outside. The city felt quieter that day, or maybe I was just hearing it clearly for the first time. A few hours later, I got one last attempt from her, an email. No fake accounts, no friend as a messenger, just her name in the sender line. The subject said, last try. For some reason, I opened it. It was short, maybe 5 sentences. Ethan, I know you don't owe me anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. You didn't deserve how I treated you. You were good to me, and I made you feel small to make myself feel big. I hope you're happy now, even if it's not with me. I stared at it for a long time. There was no manipulation this time, no begging, just truth, the kind that only shows up when someone has nothing left to protect. I didn't reply, not out of spite, but because there was nothing left to say. Forgiveness doesn't always need to be delivered. Sometimes it just needs to exist quietly in your own head. A week later, I heard she'd moved back in with her parents. Her old apartment was too expensive on her salary after she lost a freelance gig. She was trying to start over, according to someone who still kept tabs on her. As for me, I'd never felt lighter. I'd moved into a new place, small, modern, peaceful. My morning started with coffee and silence instead of arguments and apologies. I stopped questioning if I was enough. The funny thing is, I never had to prove I was a real man after all. I just had to stop trying to prove it to the wrong woman. And somewhere out there, she was finally learning what it meant to lose someone who doesn't come back, not because he hates you, but because he's finally free. The silence she once mocked had become her loudest punishment. Because this time when she yelled, "You're not a real man," she didn't realize that the realest thing I'd ever do is walk away. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.